What's up, guys? Welcome to Monchkinz Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Monchkinz logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another versus video where I take on the hardest contents in the global version of the game. So, in today's video is going to be about the new HERETIC Lufenia, which basically you can call it the Sephiroth LGBT Lufenia fight. We are going to be talking about that on this video, and of course we're going to do a little bit of story time as well. But before we do start, like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it does help this channel, guys, and I really do appreciate it if you do. Now, without further ado, let's start this video. Alright, so I don't feel very comfortable to be the one who would be giving you guys any tips on this particular Lufenia fight, because to be honest with you, I'm still kind of scratching my head how I managed to beat this fight. I still kind of don't get the whole mechanic about the shields and stuff, but I do understand a little bit of it, and I think I want to talk about what I kind of understand of it and some kind of head scratching moments when I don't understand it. So I have finished the fight. Of course, I'm making this video. I have failed a few times. That's why it's kind of like a head scratcher to me, because on those times where I failed, things just didn't make any sense to me. So I want to talk about that, as well as, of course, give you my kind of tips for this particular Lufenia fight. But like I said, I don't feel that comfortable because I don't really understand some of it. But let's talk about what I do understand. So basically, these goblins will be switching roles. I don't know if they're percentage based, but they do it quite often enough, and it's really annoying, because when they go and switch to their supporter role, they basically will grant themselves a shield, and when they have this shield, basically you won't be doing any break damage to them, and you need to break through, just like Warrior of Light shield. That's basically what it is. You can still go through it with Brave Gain or something like that. You can still do HP damage. That's completely fine. You can do that. However, you do want to break them because you do want to do as much damage as possible. Now, the big head scratcher to me is sometimes you do like really crap damage, like 1 damage. Now, from my experience, from what I can see, but I can't 100% guarantee this, is I would really just attack the goblin that is in attack mode. So whoever has the supporter role, I try to just not attack that particular goblin, and what happens basically is I use a lot of like I guess AoE brave damage or something along those lines to check if I'm actually just doing 1 damage on the supporter goblin. If I'm doing 1 damage on that, my lightning basically will not attack it, and I would let my other characters just, you know, do the AoE brave damage, which is gonna be nothing really. So I think the way to do it is to actually add an Imperil. That's one that actually really helps with damage. 2, I have Odin as my summon, which means they lower their defense, and then you also gain an attack up whenever whenever your health is less than 80%. So that's one way to do a lot of like damage, increasing your attack overall. I wouldn't really highly recommend bringing Ifrit here, because I feel, I mean, I guess you can, if you can delay them enough and you can do as much damage as you can. I think the biggest thing here is obviously making sure you can imperil, you have enchantments, and effectively, if you are able to actually apply 6 frame debuffs overall, if you can do this, then they won't be able to actually grant themselves the shield or any buffs, because they have to push through that, right? And I think that is probably one of the biggest things here. And you really want to do this at a point where they're less than 50% HP, because effectively after 50% they will have their timer up once again. So what you really want to do is wait for that 50% and then be able to actually, you know, apply all these debuffs and make sure they don't actually have their, you know, frame buffs. And that's really the way I anticipated this. I have a friend, Amethyst Lion, which inflicts a lot of frame debuffs. The reason why you want to go after 50% is because they will remove all the all their buffs, and I mean all their debuffs past 50%. So you really want to do this after the 50% mark, and that is really going to help you quite a lot. And honestly, I don't know if this is true. Like I said, this is really hard for me to because my experience has variance. It varied so much, and I kind of had this, I've been scratching my head, what the heck is going on? So for whatever reason, if I let the goblins that have like a supporter role attack me, I feel like you're able to do more brave damage to them. So you will see in this video where I would do this a few times. Like after a while, I kind of like, maybe I should let them attack me. Maybe that really would fix the issue that I've been having where I'm dealing 1 damage. I hope there's someone in the comments section that tells me how this exactly works. I don't know if it's a defensive stance. I don't know if they even have it. All I can recognize, or what I've recognized, are the supporter role and then the attack role. And I just tend to attack the ones on attack role, because it seems like I'm doing a lot more damage to those. Like I said, I kind of had to play it by ear or whatever's happening. But yeah, my strategy was basically to aim for less than 50%, and then I started inflicting all the frame debuffs. Of course, Kurosame with his overall debuff damage helps as well. Gladio's knockdown debuff is a frame debuff, and that helps as well. You know, there's definitely a lot of ways to increase your overall damage, and I would highly suggest you do that. You know, just use whatever you have, inflict debuffs, have, you know, Odin as your summon. Again, I don't know if it's highly recommended, but excuse me, but for whatever reason, I let them attack me and I do more damage afterwards. I don't know if that's a thing. I tried I think for once I actually looked at the ability screen for the enemies, and it didn't really say anything about dropping their defense once that happens, so I'm not really sure. So I'm just telling you my experience on this fight, and if I didn't explain it enough or say it enough, I'm probably not the right person to be giving tips when it comes to those kind of things, but I'm telling you guys my experience on this particular fight and what worked for me, and hopefully that would be a good tip enough to help you beat this fight. I've seen other people, you know, bring like characters that I wouldn't even think of bringing. Some people finished this with Galuf, which is amazing. You know, things like that. So the team that I went with basically is like a meta team. You got Lightning, you got Gladio, then you got Kurosame. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing it this way. This fight is pretty brutal. And I know in the JP version they didn't have the HP percentage when this fight first released, so they didn't really have anything to go with, because the problem here is the goblins have an enrage mechanic. So once you kill one, he will remove all the debuffs again, and then he would you know, put a shield up for himself. And there's just so much, you know, that it's gonna be really annoying if you can't check how much percentage is left. And you will see in this particular fight that I actually got the other boss down to like 50%. Sorry, not 50, like nearly 1%, if I remember correctly. Just 1% before I actually killed the one of the enemies. So I can understand why this was really hard in the JP version because of that factoring that as well, apart from a very confusing mechanic, which again I don't 100% understand, but for what worked for me was letting them hit me with an HP attack or whatever, and then for some reason I do more damage afterwards. Yeah. And of course you do have to have enough DPS for this, because at below 50% they will have their orbs with 35 countdown orbs or Lufenia orbs, and you have to kill them at that time, you know. And of course they will be taking a few turns. It is an ideal situation to have an Amethyst Lion friend, because this means that you can actually delete some of their turns, which means the counter only drops by 1 whenever you whenever it's your turn. However, it drops to 2 every time they do, you know, have their turn. So if all possible, make sure you have Amethyst Lion as your friend to just, you know, delete their turns and have as much turns as possible for yourself. And again, making sure that you are able to inflict the debuffs. That is an important factor. And you know, if you have 6 debuffs applied to them, again, they won't be able to apply their shields. So I think that's the most important thing. Now, I do feel like I've talked long enough about the fight itself, because there's just so much to, you know, to cover. And like I said, I don't feel that comfortable, but I do want to make a video, and I do want to feel like, you know, that I've contributed a little bit to the community, even though I don't feel that way. But please, don't kill me for it. And hopefully some of my experience actually helped you, right? Anyway, I think I'll end the talk about the fight, yeah, right now. So this just means that we are going to story time, which kind of relates to the fight itself, because I'm going to be talking about the Sephiroth banner. I did pull, use obviously the free pulls, but I only use 20 tickets, 10 on each banner, and I don't really feel like I really want to do any more than that. The main reason is I've beaten the fight. I don't feel like I need to pull for Sephiroth right now. Like I said in my Should You Pull video, there is a triple EX triple burst banner, which refeatures Sephiroth's burst weapon. And you know, if the thing is that banner, I do have to say, if you are gunning for Sephiroth, that's probably not the best place to do it, unless you're going for if you're going for a what do you call this? If you're going for a pity, it's probably not the best one. But if you're going for the pity, I think it's the best one to go for, since you can just, you know, grab the other burst weapons. Obviously, if you have Warrior of Light's burst weapon and Paladin Cecil's burst weapon, that banner is gonna be really annoying for you unless you get really lucky, specifically if you are hunting down for Sephiroth. So I think if you really like Sephiroth and you don't want to deal with like multiple copies of Warrior of Light's burst or Paladin Cecil's burst, this is probably the best banner to pick up Sephiroth, because he doesn't return until that point in time, I believe. Just quickly going through this, yeah, he doesn't get his burst refeatured until that point in time again. So I would really highly suggest, if you really want Sephiroth and you do plan on pulling Paladin Cecil's burst, and you already have Warrior of Light's burst, just go ahead and pull here. This is something I didn't really mention on my Should You Pull video. I feel like, because sometimes I feel like the videos are too long, and I know that was one of the oldest complaints, like the videos are too long. So I try not to make the videos too long. Anything past like 20 minutes is, I think, too long. I mean, even 15 minutes, and this video has gotten past that already. So I feel like the video is already too long. So sometimes I don't get to say what I want to say completely, and you know, stuff gets glossed over. So I do just want to talk about that really quickly, because I feel like I might have misguided some people who really like Sephiroth. So if you really like Sephiroth, and again, if you have if you've gotten Warrior of Light's burst and you plan to pull on Paladin Cecil's burst as well, you don't want to wait for that triple burst banner. If you really like Sephiroth, you go ahead and pull on him and just wait for the rework, and hopefully it all works out for you. Unless you go pity on that particular banner, you don't have any one of their any one of their burst weapons. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say in this story time. I just wanted to add something on the Should You Pull video that I didn't really add. So yeah, I think I'll end the video right here, but because, like, once again, the video is too long. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, it does help the channel, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have given me. And you can always follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Monchkinz Gaming. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to just leave a message. I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can. And leave down in the comments below what you think of this fight. Was it as hard as people say it was? Leave down in the comments below your team as well and your strategy. And again, if you can explain to me how this one damage thing works, maybe there's you know, they do give like a defensive buff on the other goblins. Maybe it's that and I just didn't pay attention. Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, I do want to find out what the heck is going on and why is that happening. Anyway, this is Monchkinz logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.